Do you want this to be you? Do you want to have loss after loss once you reach GM because you didn't know how to prepare? Well, we're going to help you. And these are things I wish I knew before I got to Grandmaster. Let's hop right into it. So just for a little bit of clarification, I peaked GM3, top 50, like something on the leaderboard. Things were going well. I thought I was not going to be losing this rank whatsoever. Then I went on a crazy loss streak. Then got it back early this morning. Then went on another loss streak. And honestly, I came to the conclusion I just wasn't prepared. There were certain rules that even though I'm still in the high elo, I can't get consistent wins on a regular. And this video is going to help you guys so you don't have to go through the same struggle I went through. Starting out with the first thing I wish I knew, and that is tank is the strongest role in the game. What I realized, the higher you start to climb, your wins are often dictated by how good the tanks are, by how much they can disrupt your team, how much they can poke out your healers, or how much space they create. It's really, really nasty. But don't ignore this part if you're not a tank player. There are things you could do to help your tank player get these advantages. So, one, if you're support, focus on keeping your tank alive. Fight with your tank if you're a DPS player, like maybe add some extra damage to the front lines, push the Doctor Strange shield, knock it off. Or maybe if you're playing more of a dive character like Psylocke and you see your Hulk in the back lane, go back there with him. Help get some picks, help build your ult charge, and overall disrupt the enemy team. Now this is a cheesy little tip for this section though, but if you have like a really bad tank player who loves to play tank, always, you know they're not filling, they're just an overall bad tank player, they don't know how to create space, and they're just kind of feeding ult charge, add them to your avoid list. Tank players are the hugest factor when it comes to the team. You're going to want to avoid them the most. Alright, moving on to the second thing I wish I knew before climbing to GM, and that is being a good flexer. This will save you games. Honestly, probably my sole reason for reaching GM. On my climb to GM, I was really looking to compete on a lot of teams, and I wanted to play the DPS role. But often, once I got past Diamond, the characters I practiced were just getting banned outright. Whether that was Hawkeye, Hela, or Psylocke, these characters would be near 90% bans in most of my games. So my DPS skills started lacking, and I couldn't perform, so I often led to flexing, whether I've been healer or tank, because I'm like, you know what, I can pretty much heal. Healers are not getting banned. I know I could definitely contribute here. But then, as I started climbing, I started getting really good at 2 or 3 characters per each role. So when it came to DPS, as soon as I got plus diamond, I'm like, alright, I can play Namor. Namor's not banned as often. And Bucky, another good character that's not banned. 2 good characters, and they were my go-tos. When it came to the tank role, it was either Magneto or it was Groot. Love those guys. Or maybe even sometimes a little bit of Doctor Strange. But then when it came to the support category, it was either Cloak and Dagger, Mantis, or Luna. Great at sustain, and some good easy supports to perform with. Now what being a good flexer will allow your team to do is have a great player at each role. Now some matches you're just going to have to lose and you got to deal with it, right? I've been in matches where we had 4 healers, or some matches where we had 4 DPS players. You got to make it work. You're going to have to flex. But flexing in this game rewards you huge. You'll win some games you shouldn't have. I'm being completely honest. But before flexing, I do recommend you ask if you can play your role, because the role you often play most with is going to give you the better chances of winning at the end of the day. Moving on to another thing I wish I knew before I hit GM, and that is using your mic. Now I know depending on your background it might be hard, depending if you're a girl, you might get slandered easily, or if you come off sounding like a minority, you might get racist claims. But hey, listen, if you see those people, just report them and mute them. Communication is going to win you games hard. I'm not lying to you. It will win you games hard. Oftentimes when there's no leader, no one calling shot callers, people will just do the same thing over and over until the game's end. No one will switch. People will keep running down the choke point. It's terrible. Communication has single-handedly won me some games. In top 500, I shouldn't have won. There's this one game where this guy's like, hey, can you play Groot? I'm like, oh, yeah, I can play Groot. Groot's my flex, baby. And he could play Moon Knight, right? And Moon Knight was, I'm like, oh yeah, Moon Knight's pretty good right now. But I didn't know that Groot and Moon Knight had a crazy combo that will damage through anything. I'm talking Luna, I'm talking Mantis, didn't matter what it was. Grew ult, Moon Knight combo, we'll just flat out kill. But if I didn't have communication with that guy, if I didn't hop on my mic, we might have, that team might have outskilled us. But it was just because we were comboing ult and building charge and playing around that we won. And it also helped a lot that half our other team was using mic as well, so they knew what we were playing for. And overall, this gives your teams a heads up when you're gonna ult, when you're gonna push. It just adds so much clarity to a messy game already. But like I said again, if there are the toxic teammates, mute them, keep it going. If no one's calming, then hey, at least you tried at the end of the day. Now, this one right here, I definitely wish I knew, and it was a hard thing to come to terms with, but solo queue is just way harder. There's higher chances of you not getting a role, harder to practice your mains. I just highly recommend, if once you get to Diamond Plus, that you look for a good duo or a trio, so at least you have one person in each role that's ready to fill, you know, because you're rolling the dice. You're gonna be flexing a lot, and unless you're a great flexer, I'm not even a great flexer. I think that's why I don't even get a lot of consistent wins. That's why I'll be in GM and top 50 one moment and be all the way back at Diamond 2. It's rough out here. I recommend looking for servers to find duos or trios. This game just launched. You can try the official Marvel servers, or I'm pretty sure there's competitive ones out there, or just link up with your friends and say, hey, you want to queue up some rank together, because once you get past Diamond, it gets rough. Solo queue becomes 10 times harder. Unless you're a tank player. If you're a tank player, you're good. I mean, you might not get the greatest of heals. The heals might be inconsistent, but tank players are one of those consistent players in solo queue I've noticed. Like, if you go to the top of the leaderboard and click who they play, it's usually some disruptor type of tank, like Venom, someone who can get in your back lane like Hulk, or maybe Magneto or Doctor Strange, mostly Doctor Strange. But if you're not a tank player, solo queue is just way harder. Look for a partner or a trio. And this is probably the last thing I recommend, but do not tilt queue. Take it from me personally, I have lost a lot of games in a row, and sometimes I think I'm not tilted because I'm not cussing and stuff, but I know, you know, when you're going into another match and you already have a negative outcome, like, oh, we just lost this first match, it's a GG, or if you're typing something toxic in chat, you already know your mental's not there. Get off the game. Just get it off. After 2 or 3 losses in a row, take a 30-minute break. And if you feel like you can't hop off the game, go to quick play or an arcade. You know, you can still be warm, keep your aim consistent. But man, mental will kill or just ruin your performance and consistency. Especially if you're a DPS player and consistency is a huge part of your role, I highly recommend do not tilt queue. You're just gonna lose a lot of points. You're gonna end up like me. Like, unless you're going for some crazy record, or unless you're streaming, you have to keep playing. Don't tilt queue. It leads to nothing positive. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you. I hope this video helps. Honestly, these are things that if I knew beforehand, I probably would have been still top 100. But man, the journey is a stiff one for this game. And if I was to take one thing from this video, I'll probably say the Flexor one. The Flexor got me to GM by itself. If you're just looking to peak GM, flexing will get you there. But if you're looking to stay, I suggest adding all these. But yeah, that's going to do it. Hope you liked the video. Subscribe. We got more content on the way. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day.